What's the matter?
It's the color of your eyes. This has the same color as your eyes. And when I look into this, it's like... What is it called?
When I was a kid, I loved anime. Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Voltron were my gateway drugs as a child, and by the time I hit elementary school, Toonami started airing on Cartoon Network. By then, I was completely hooked. Shows like Outlaw Star, Gundam Wing, and Yu Yu Hakusho captured my young imagination. I remember staying up till 3 a.m. every Friday and Saturday night just to watch uncensored versions of Cowboy Bebop and other shows. Anime remained something I regularly and passionately consumed throughout high school and some of college. And then one day I sorta just stopped. While I still love watching every Miyazaki film, revisit Cowboy Bebop on occasion, and absolutely fell in love with the original Ghost in the Shell film in my late 20s, I basically just stopped watching anime. That was until recently when some friends of mine wouldn't stop hounding me for never having watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I decided to try getting into anime again as an adult and fired up Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. 3 episodes in, something felt off. It took me a while to finally figure out what it was, but then I realized, oh, it's the goofiness. The show has these really weird moments that occur in other anime as well, where the characters become poorly drawn and just kind of scream and flail, or what I've lovingly dubbed, otaku moments. The problem I have with moments like this is that it doesn't feel genuine. It's similar to the phenomenon that occurs in Marvel movies, where a character tries to have a serious moment that's then undercut by a gag or a joke. It tells the audience not to take these moments too seriously. Cheesy or not, these moments take away something I value in art: sincerity. I was ready to fall in love with the brothers and their journey, only to discover that they and the creators were not taking their situations all that seriously. And when you lose your brother, your arm, and a leg, and bring your mother back as a rotting husk, that calls for some deep emotional baggage. Instead, half of the show, at least from the episodes I saw, contain these weird otaku moments, which immediately take me out of the show. It seems to lack just a little bit of that sincerity I was craving. I figured I was probably done with anime until I decided to give a random show I found at midnight on Netflix a shot. That's when I discovered a show that deals with its heavy subjects in a mature manner, and one that's the most sincere piece of media I've seen in a long time. Today I want to figure out why Violet Evergarden is so good. Violet Evergarden tells the story of a young girl named Violet who's just come back from a major war in which she took part. Raised from birth to fight, Violet has known nothing other than the battlefield, and as a result, she only has one purpose, one desire: to follow her orders. Having lost both her arms in battle and waiting to hear if her former commander has survived, Violet takes a job as an auto memories doll, which is basically a glorified letter writer. People who aren't totally sure how to express the emotions they wish to convey hire dolls to write in their stead. And while the mechanical nature of typing comes naturally to Violet, the actual writing and understanding of the emotions that people would like to convey does not. In order for Violet to truly understand the Major's final words to her, she has to take jobs as a doll for people with various problems and desires. Each episode allows Violet to tackle a different emotion. The scenarios and situations her clients need help with reflect some missing piece of her that she needs to learn to understand. Whether it's self-reflection, guilt, accepting loss, or even learning what love means. I think it's amazing that a show in this artistic medium can center an entire story around understanding and forgiving yourself, especially in a day and age when mental health, PTSD, and other disorders are still so heavily stigmatized. For Violet, the battlefield is all she knew, and trying to adjust to civilian life and connect with what it means to be human is hard for her. The loss of her commander and her inability to rejoin the war effort means that she has literally lost her purpose in life. Her failing to understand others or even grasp basic human emotions is made manifest in her wounds. Her arms, having been lost in her final battle, have been replaced with mechanical ones, manifestations of how she and many others actually see her, a tool. The idea of Violet being a tool doesn't just stop at her arms. Her vocal delivery is incredibly deadpan as well. And in the first few episodes, she refuses to do anything she wasn't expressly ordered to do. She believes that she's a tool because she's been told that her entire life. Her only goal is to follow orders, which makes the Major's final orders even more sad when you consider that she literally doesn't understand what he wants from her. She doesn't understand what it means to live, as it were. Violet Evergarden isn't as much a show about a girl trying to connect and understand the last words of her former commander, like it seems on the surface. Rather, the show is about what we do after trauma, after we do something wrong, or how we find that purpose we all crave. What do you do when your life is completely uprooted and the only thing you've ever known is gone? How do you continue living without that original foundation? Violet Evergarden is also an amazing story about finding your own purpose. Many of us go through life working towards goals we may never achieve. Many of us may even achieve those goals and be happy for a while until we lose or outgrow them, or find we maybe never really wanted them in the first place. Perhaps we have no idea what we want at all. Ultimately, I think that's what stood out to me about Violet Evergarden. Aside from its incredible art, music, and uncanny ability to make you weep until you bleed out of your eye sockets, it's a show that asks us to really connect with ourselves. In a world where we have so many ways to communicate, we often hide how we feel about everything. We don't reach out to others as much as we should in their times of need. We don't ask for help enough when we experience our own trauma and crises. We aren't as in touch with our feelings as maybe we should be. And we aren't as willing to forgive ourselves for our mistakes and grow from them as maybe we should be. Between the tears and the heartbreak is a show with sincere heart and beauty. And as someone who goes through mental ups and downs and knows many other loved ones who experience grief and actual disorders, and as a lapsed anime fan, Violet Evergarden truly touched me. It's a beautiful piece of art about purpose, connecting with yourself and others, and most of all, learning to love again.
I know what I love you means.